What's up everyone, it's Bones here. In today's video, I'll be featuring the Superheavy Samurai deck, which just happened to get pretty hard hits on the recent ban list with the banning of Scarecrow, as I'll be starting this one with a few one-card combos to show what the deck can still do, as we'll start with the Waka Flocka, and then from here we can get our Big Benkei. We'll special summon out the Waka Flocka, as we'll be able to get our Soul Piercer. Now we can normal summon the Soul Piercer, go into our Tilting Entrainment, use the Soul Piercer as Chainlink 1, the Tilting Entrainment as Chainlink 2, and basically what this allows us to do is special summon one of our level 4 or lower Pendulum monsters from our hand or face up from our extra deck. What this card allows, being an Earth Machine, is that you can continue to extend your plays with the Knuckler needing the 2 Earth Machines, and you're also able to get your bike from here, which the bike can get you into the Soul Peacemaker, and then you can use the Soul Peacemaker on the Waka in order to get you your second Earth Machine, so that you can get into that Knuckler. So we're going to bring out the Soul Piercer, go into our Knuckler, so that we can get a couple of searches here. We'll also get a third search off the Gearbox, as we'll be able to get the Coral off of it so that we can complete our scales, so that we can Pendulum Summon. And now we'll Pendulum Summon for 3, as we'll also be able to get a Revival off of the scales. And now from here we'll be able to get back the Soul Piercer, as we're going to go into our Axel, trigger the Soul Piercer and the Axel. We'll bring back the bike, as we'll get our booster. And now from here you're supposed to go directly into your Baron, but I happened to misclick when I was going onto my Baron, or when I was going to go to the Axel, and I activated the booster, so just keep in mind, go into your Baron first, as we'll then be able to use the booster now. From here you can go into the Merrymaker, as you can jump up into your Sargus, use the Sargus in order to get your Regulus, and then from here you can use the 3 monsters on board outside of Baron in order to go into the Appaloosa for 3 monster negates, as we'll then be able to bring out our Regulus and round out our end board. Now for the second combo, and we'll be starting with Bike, and I kind of like to think of this deck as the combo version of Sword Soul, as you're doing a lot of the same stuff, and some of the approaches that you take that are different are really just small things that you need to just change the lanes and on the same end boards, as you'll see momentarily. But we're going to get ourselves the Soul Piercer, go into our Tilting Entrainment, use the Soul Piercer along with the Entrainment, bring out our Waka along with the search for the Soul Peacemaker, use the Soul Peacemaker, and much like our previous combo, we're going to be able to end on the same stuff, as we're going to get our Soul Piercer for the Knuckler, and then we can get our couple of searches here, as we'll be able to get the third search off of the box, and then from here we can get ourselves the Coral in order to get our scales, and then from here we can Pendulum Summon for 3, as we'll be able to bring out the box, the scales, and the Waka, use the effect of the scales in order to bring back the Piercer, go into our Axel, and the Piercer will trigger in order to get a search and a revival, and then from here we can get our booster. You can also get the Spy if you would like to, it really doesn't matter, but we'll also be able to get ourselves the extra body this way in order to go into our Merrymaker, go into our Sargus, get ourselves the search for the Regulus, and now we'll have the 3 bodies on board outside of the Baron to go into our Appaloosa, and then bring out the second Omnigate with the Regulus. Now the third one-card combo that the deck still has is the Wagon, and we're going to normal summon it in order to get our booster, and the way that you get into your Waka here is that you have rank 4 access, so you can go into your Gear X, and that just gets you a search for a machine monster, which is what we're going to do now, as we're going to get ourselves the bike can get us into the Waka Flocka, and now we can activate the Waka Flocka, which will allow us to get the Big Benkei along with the special summon of itself, as we'll then be able to get the search off of Big Benkei for the Soul Peacemaker, and then from here you can use the Soul Peacemaker, tribute off the Waka, as we'll be able to get ourselves the Soul Piercer, giving us 2 Earth Machines to go into our Knuckler, and now from here we can get the effects to search off the Knuckler and the Soul Piercer, and we'll also get the additional search off the Gearbox to get ourselves the Coral. From here we can activate the Coral, we'll be able to Pendulum Summon for 3, and then from this point on we're basically just doing the same stuff, as we're going to bring back the Soul Piercer, go into our Axel, use the effect of the Axel and the Soul Piercer in order to get the Revival and the search, and then from here you'll see that we're going to get the Spy, and that's just to show that you can still get the Spy or the booster. You're going to get your extra body regardless, but you're going to then go into your Merrymaker, jump up into your Sargus, use the Sargus in order to get your Regulus. From here, we'll bring out our Regulus as we'll be able to attach or equip the Soul Piercer to it, and then from there, we'll special summon out our Spy as we're going to now go into our Appaloosa, rounding out our end board. Now, for the last one of these, and this one is a 2-card combo with the Soul Piercer and the Soul Peacemaker, and I still want to show this because it's your low resource ways to get into your main board that you want to go into, and just with how many ways there is to do it, I feel the deck is still consistent, but if you've noticed by now with how much we've been comboing, you'll see that the boards are pretty weak to Nibiru, Droll, Shifter, and just a ton of stuff that can really stop you in your tracks. Sphere mode can also be really devastating on your opponent's turn, so that is something to consider, as we're going to get our searches off of the Knuckler and the Soul Piercer and the box, as we'll get ourselves the Coral, and then from here we can use the bike. The bike will get us into the Waka, and then from here we can activate the Waka. From here we'll use the Waka in order to get our Benkei, bring out the Waka, as we'll then be able to use the Benkei, get ourselves the Soul Piercer, and then from here we can activate the Coral. We'll be able to Pendulum Summon for 3 here now, as we already have the Waka Flocka on board, we already have the Tuner on board, so we're now going to get our booster and then go into our Axel, trigger the Soul Piercer along with the Axel in order to get the Revival and the Search for the Spy, as we'll then be able to bring out our Baron, use the Wagon in order to equip it to the Wagon, and then from here we can bring out the booster as we'll go into our Merrymaker, go into our Sargus, now we can get our Search for the Regulus, and now from here, because we have the Spy, you could have also gotten follow-up if you wanted to, but I just wanted to show you can make your end board a little bit stronger here with a 4-material Appaloosa, and you can bring out your Regulus for the extra Omni Negate. Now, as I said, this deck has pretty much been the Sword Soul combo variant. Going to do a lot of the similar stuff again. I'm sorry if this video feels really redundant, and it's just the nature of the deck. So I will bring a little bit of a different combo, though it's really going to amount to the same stuff, as we're going to bring out our Scales, bring out the Soul Piercer, as we'll be able to get the Search off the Soul Piercer as well for the bike. Now we'll go into our Knuckler, as we'll be able to get the Searches off the Knuckler and the Soul Piercer for the box along with the Spy, as we'll then be able to get the box effect in order to get ourselves Coral, and then from there we can special summon out our Spy, go into the Cleafort Genius, and the only reason I'm doing this is if you're trying to bait stuff out, this is something that you can do to kind of throw off your opponent, where you're not really sacrificing too much on your end board, while still something very situational to do, and something that you're usually going to take the approach that I showed in the last combo. I just felt it was worth showing as well, because there's also chances you may not want to play the Merrymaker along with the Sargus, and Cleafort Genius can still get you there, but by showing this, it also shows that you need a little bit more cards in hand to do these combos without the Merrymaker and the Sargus. So from here we'll be able to get the Waka Flocka off the bike. Now we can activate the Waka Flocka, use its effect in order to get the Benkei itself on board, as we'll be able to get the Search off of Benkei for the Soul Piercer, and now we can activate the Coral, as we'll be able to Pendulum Summon now, and from here we can use Cleafort Genius in order to get us into our Regulus, so we don't need the Merrymaker access anymore, as we'll be able to bring out our Regulus now, and then from here we can go into our Axel. We'll use the Axel to bring back the bike. We didn't go into the Axel with the Soul Piercer because we still want the ability to have a Super Heavy on board, so that when we search our booster for the extra body, we have a Super Heavy on board for it. So we'll be able to pop the Soul Piercer in our Spell and Trap zone with the Baron, and that will get us the booster. The booster can equip itself to the Soul Piercer, and then from here you can get the 2 bodies on board. Now you have a rank 4 play, or you can just go into your Appaloosa or another link 2 play, as we'll also be able to get a Search off the Soul Piercer for the bike as follow-up. With all of the combos out of the way, we can finally get onto the deck profile, and most noticeably, we lost Gamma in the main deck, which means that I'm stuck playing a filler card here like Nibiru. I don't know what I want this to be yet. Probably will be something else over time, as you don't want to play into a Rise Heart Pass against Kashtira and just have this dead in hand. Same thing with Labyrinth. But then there's also the Fenrir, which technically could be other copies of each of these three, so playing 2/2/2 of each of these if you want to protect them from being banished by something like runic cards, which are still in the format, so that is important to note. You can also potentially increase your copies of Regulus if you want the ability to play through hand traps more consistently, though you are making your deck a little bit brickier by doing so. You'll also see that the Tunneler is still in deck, and this is still because if you happen to hard open the Coral, you want to have a other target for the Knuckler. And then you'll see the 2 Booster, which I feel is more important than ever because Wagon is now one of your primary starters, as before you had 12 one-card starters where Wagon was probably like your lowest priority, and now you just have 9 where Wagon's priority is significantly higher because it's a higher chance you're going to be seeing him if you're doing a one-card combo. Outside of that, the weakness of not being able to play spell and traps is still there, but having the ability to make plays through special summoning off of Waka Flocka without needing your normal summon, and having the 3 bikes in order to get there, makes playing cards like Denko, Lava Golem, and Sphere Mode potentially nice, especially as you need the blowout cards, considering that you can get blown out quite easily yourself through things like Shifter, Nib, Dark Ruler, and so on. Then there's also the problem with the extra deck, in which you do play a considerable amount of space for engine stuff like the Merrymakers in order to get into your Regulus when you already have the Cleaford Genius, and then the Tilting Entrainment, which is another thing you have to play now for the summon of your Waka Flocka in order to get into your main plays and your one-card combos with it, so that is something that is worth noting when picking up the deck and understanding what it's strong against and what some of its downsides. Outside of that, I don't really have much else to say, so I'll just get onto the card by card, as we have the 2 Big Benkei, we have the 2 Booster, we have the 1 Box, the 1 Tunneler, the Regulus, the 3 Wagon, the 3 Bike, the 3 Waka Flocka, the 3 Soul Piercer, the 3 Soul Peacemaker, the 1 Scales, the 1 Spy, the 1 Coral, the 3 Fenrir, the 3 Droll, the 3 Effect Veiler, the 3 Ash, the 3 Nibirus. Onto the extra deck, we have the Baron, Savage, Axel, Tilting, number 41, X, Merrymaker, Sargus, Zeus, Masquerena, Genius, Platinum Gadget, the Knuckler, the Unicorn, and the Appaloosa to round out the deck profile. Anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.